My name's Eric Schumann, and I believe it's been 3 or 4 years since I've been teaching for Mid-Valley Literacy Center, and I teach citizenship. So that's Juan, right outside the immigration building in Portland, just probably 2 months ago. One of the things I do with my students is when they get their citizenship, I take them to breakfast. And here's a photograph of Juan and his wife Sylvia and me at breakfast. The students have to learn the answers to about 100 questions. There are questions about civics and geography and history and government. And like all of the students I've had in the past 6 years that I've been teaching citizenship, he passed on his first try. This is Hector. That's obviously Vivian and I having breakfast with Hector. Hector came from Guadalajara. He's been in the US for 26 years, is the general manager of the Turner Lumber Company in Turner, Oregon, where he began work as a housekeeper. He was cleaning toilets and sweeping up in this mill, in this lumber mill, 25 years ago when he started there, and he is now the boss man. He is the manager of that company, and he adores his work. He loves the people he works with. It was a joy to have him in class, and I don't think it's going to take much persuasion for him to become one of our tutors as well. The last student I want to tell you about from the last 6 months is RC. RC and Vivian have known each other for 20 plus years, I should say. She was a bit of a resistant student at first, and then it came very close to the time of her interview, and suddenly she did a 180 turnabout and became the most eager learner and learned the 100 questions in about 2 weeks on her own. All of my students have been joys to work with. And you know what? I consider it a joy, a privilege, and a pleasure to be a volunteer at Mid-Valley Literacy Center. But from the moment they wake up until they go to bed at night, the literacy skills that they learn through us are going to serve them every single day. They're going to share those with their kids, with their grandchildren if they're older. The fact is that the more literacy skills you have and the more you speak English at home with children, evidence has shown through scientific studies is that the more likely that your children will have economic success in this country. So what greater blessing could we give to immigrants, to our community, than to empower them with economic success? They ought to be able to make a difference in their communities by voting, by participating in civic organizations and in the life of our community, and not only in the communities where they speak their own language, but where they speak English as well. I think that's so important.
Yes.
Because remember, all of us, with the exception of the Native Americans, all of us are immigrants. Every one of us come from immigrant families, as do I. Now, my family, 2 to 3 generations back, came from Eastern Europe in the 1880s, and they all came through Ellis Island instead of coming from our southern borders. They faced prejudice, they faced challenges, but poverty. They all came over poor. I didn't have any rich relatives. And so I really have a lot in common with my students when I go back a couple of generations. I appreciate what they're going through, and I want to help them succeed.